So you just have to we just have to understand what the select position is doing. Can't find it. Select position. Okay. Set place. Okay, so this function, I'm going to use it in because as I said, I'll pass this variables inside another component, inside different components. So instead of prop drilling, I'm just going to use the use context API, which is a more standard approach. And just to double check on what I'm doing, sorry, not should be right here. Yeah, I shouldn't be doing it right here. Sorry about that. So I'm just gonna create the div. So first of all, I'm just gonna say if let's place a select. Okay, I'm just really confused right now. Set let's place 1. Okay, so I made a mistake right here. So it should be set let's place 1. And so I'm just gonna, so this is, we're gonna find out what this is. So this is a logical AND operator. So this is a really good website, I always go there. So this is the logical AND operator. It basically means that if this variable has some values in it, it's gonna show this div I'm creating right here. Basically, it's like an sort of like an if. Basically, it's sort of like an if-else statement. So if this place 1, this variable exists, if it has a sort of like a truthy value, then this div is gonna show up. So this is basically the red drop down that I showed earlier. I'm just gonna style it. So I'm just gonna say its position as absolute. And the background color, I can choose any color I want. I'm just gonna keep it sort of like a pinkish color, and you can pick any color you want. And there's gonna be like a weight, because the font weight, what font weight does is it just add some depth or some boldness in the font. And of course we're gonna need some margin top. Width is 90%. I mean, you can just play with those values. And I'm just gonna, once I'm done, I'm just gonna show you what the styling elements are doing in the DevTools. and so I'm giving it a specific height, and also I'm just specifying that overflow y basically means that if this is overflowing out of the out of its dimension, then it's not going to extend. It's just going to add a scroll bar in the y-axis. So this is what I'm just saying, add a scroll bar in the y-axis if it overflows. And z index should be, you can have any random value. So this is basically a material UI component list. So you can just Google that and see and go look in the documentation of what I'm making, or if you want to make sense of what I'm typing right now. This information is all in the documentation, like a component area label. So if list place 1 exists, meaning that the API is supposed to fetch, so the OSM API is supposed to fetch some values. Basically, it's supposed to fetch a list, an array, and it's saying that if this variable does have an array, if it has a true D value to it, then it's going to show up this div. And this question mark, what it's going to do is it's just going to be like if so what happens is that when you're sometimes variables values of the variables change, and if for some reason it becomes empty, then then this is going to show an error and the whole app is going to break. So that's why it's always better before you write map, it's better to add a question mark. So basically, if it becomes empty, then it wouldn't it's sort of like an error handling, that it wouldn't like crash the app. Item. So this is just a standard map method. You can also go to W3 schools and see what map method does. We turn on another div. So this list place is going to have a property called place ID. So I'm just gonna console log list place just to give you a better idea of what's happening. So just note that I'm using curly braces because I'm writing JavaScript inside the return statement. So I'm not supposed to do that. So if I want to write something like sort of that's related to JavaScript, then I'm gonna have to use those curly braces. And I did the same thing here. Like I have to use the curly braces if I want to use this JavaScript like operators inside the return parenthesis. Otherwise, it's going to show you an error. So I'm just going to write list place 1. So in a bit, in a moment I'm just going to show you that list place also has as a property called place ID. So just bear with me. So this list item is also from Material UI. So basically what I want to do is okay, let me just write it down first. List item is a on click. Okay, let me just explain. So what I want to do is as I go to that, I pick a city and it adds a like scroll bar in the y-axis, and so when I click in, so it has like several divs. For each div is giving you a bunch of information. So this nominative is giving you this. So it has like I said, it has like a place ID and a bunch of other information. So as you want to click any of the div, you want to capture that information. So that's what I'm doing right here. So so if you want to click here, you'd want to have this information in your input div. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to explain what I did. Oh man, I'm just so tired right now. Yes, I'm just gonna so inside this image there's gonna be so there's this like those sort of like a location icon. This is the source, this is the style. just gonna make sure they're not that big. The width, I'm gonna specify the width 38, and then height should be small. So this is the image, and you also have the list icon. And so you also have to add some text. And just to keep things clean, I'm just gonna use this divider. Let's see what happens. Okay, so there's just several errors. So the first and foremost is the item not defined, list is not defined, ls is not defined. Okay, so where did I get the items? Line 47, it says line 47. I'm just gonna go to line 47. Okay, it should be item, not result right here. Okay, let's go small. Yeah, it shouldn't be item, it should be result. JSON parse says JSON, and then I have to import all these things, the divider. Okay, what else did it want? List is not present. Okay, list is not there. Okay, I'm just gonna add list, make sure, hope that okay, so there's ls. Okay, I'm just gonna explain in a bit why I used ls. This can't resolve local storage. Why? Oh, I see. Okay, so local storage 2.0. Okay, so we need to use local storage, and the local storage isn't installed yet. npm local storage. Just make sure you use this one instead of this one. These are very specific libraries. Now so I'm just gonna explain like why I'm using local storage here. Sorry. So this fetch is supposed to return me a bunch of like a whole list of places starting with what we search for. So if it starts with N, then it's gonna return New York, New Orleans, or something like that. So it's gonna return me a whole bunch of lists. and this list is going to be put inside this variable list place 1. And as you get a drop down, you're gonna, when you click on one of the div, you're gonna want this this select position. You're gonna want to have this value inside this one, inside the div. So I kept this place empty. Now I'm going to say it should be, now I'm going to give it a value. So remember that it has several properties inside, so I'm just going to use the display name. Again, I'm using the question mark so that it doesn't break, or it's sort of like error handling thing, so it will never break. So why am I getting this error? I'm so tired right now. Display name. Am I making a spelling mistake? Expected comma. Okay, no, that's not how it is. Okay, so I used double parenthesis, which I shouldn't. Told you I'm tired. So you want this position in your div, and also you want the list to empty. You just don't want, when you click a drop down, you want the drop down to disappear right away. I'll just explain to you what I mean. So you click a position, and so once you click it, you want the drop down to disappear, and that's what I'm doing. Like, so that's why the set list place should be empty again. Should be an empty array, not an array at all. Like, it just should have a null value. And now the question is why I'm using local storage. So I'm using ls. I'm importing ls from local storage, and this is basically how you use local storage. I'll give you an example. Local storage ls dot set. So this is just to give you an example. So this is how you use local storage. So you're setting an item. So why I want to use local storage is because the context API would lose its value if the user, for example, clicks refresh. So if the user somehow clicks refresh, it will lose its value. For example, if I click, if I say this and I have this, you go to the DevTools application, local storage. So I have this this local storage storing the value of these so I have this of storing the value of the latitude and longitude. I'm not storing the name or anything, I'm just storing the latitude and longitude. Reason why is because I'm just going to go to confirm location. Now it's going to show you the path from this city to this city. So if I click refresh, the context API will lose its value if you click refresh, and everything would be all the values would be initialized, would have its initial value. So I mean, so that would definitely give you an error because the map wouldn't find the values it's looking for, and a whole bunch of things. Map is doing a whole bunch of things, and it's not going to find the values it's looking for. But now you see, you still get the value even after clicking refresh. It's because it's stored in the local storage. So if it doesn't get the value, it will get the values from local storage. So that's the whole idea. So am I missing something here? Okay. So one div is created, so I'm just gonna click refresh. Okay. So last time there was an error with local storage. Let's see if the error is still there. So I'm just gonna click Part3 in. It's not doing anything. Okay. So it has pickup location. I'm just gonna press look for this. So it's sending a request. Okay. It's not giving me anything back. It's not valid. Search for the. Let's debug the problem together. Search for the 8. I don't know if I'm making the right address. So I'm just gonna make sure I copy paste properly. Okay. It says in line 48, 44. Syntax error. Undefined is not valid. It's not undefined is not valid. So it's returning an undefined value 48. Line 48. Okay. Why should it return undefined? So it's making the right request. Nothing undefined is on, so it's not returning any value. Why? Oh, okay. There should